Okay, it looks like we're live. So hey everybody, we're going to continue. This is going to be a continuation off episode 7, but it's going to be a little bit of the LA riots update, and then we have some other major news that we kind of talked about the other day. Israel attacked Iran's nuclear facilities and military sites. So that's what this episode is going to be about. It's going to be a bit of a shorter episode. There's some very big updates to both those stories. So we kind of have to just cover it, of course. We got to go over it. So let's take a look. Right here is just a really nice map. Those Israel attacks happened last night. It says Israel strikes Iran nuclear facilities and military sites. Let's just take a look at here. Missile strikes, 17. And it looks like about only 3 of them were actually in Tehran. And as we were talking about yesterday, Iran was threatening that Tehran was going to launch strikes. It looks like Israel preemptively struck Tehran, but also a bunch of other places around here. I don't know if these are Tehran controlled or whatever. Iran didn't strike anything. It was actually Israel. So last night we were covering how the US embassy in Iraq was being evacuated because Iran said that Tehran was going to make strikes if these US-Iran nuclear peace talks break down, which they did. So anyway, we started evacuating the Iraqi embassy in Baghdad. It looks like it wasn't Iran who was going to do the attack. It was actually Israel. So that's fun stuff. The next story I want to talk about is a story that you probably, if you're like me, have already seen some misinformation for. So it's this Trump lawsuit. Originally, I claimed that it got thrown out. It didn't actually get thrown out. It just got kind of paused or delayed for like another time. So here's kind of the timeline on it. Newsom submits his lawsuit. It gets denied. The next time it goes to court, it gets accepted. The court rules Trump's got to get rid of the National Guard. And then later on, pretty soon right after that, an appeals court shoots that down and says Trump can keep the National Guard. But the story that I keep seeing is that Newsom's lawsuit wins or whatever. But really, that's not what happened here. It was denied twice and it was approved once. But Newsom's going all over the internet and stuff saying, oh, we got our lawsuit through. He's got to get the National Guard out of here. So people are just misinformed because the news is kind of like changing so fast. But here is where it stands right now. It stands as the lawsuit has gone nowhere right now. So everyone keep that in mind. Ballistic missile bases in Paranshar, Western Iran have been struck. Let's see if there's any video. Here, we got some video. And that light is quite intense. I wonder what that is. Is it just the way it's recorded, or is it the explosion that's lighting like that? Pretty short video, but it did give us a lot of good context. It's kind of what the scene looks like in Iran. Here's a fun one. So these are all tweets from like senators and like congressmen, all just saying like, pray for Israel, I stand for Israel. But here's the thing. Israel didn't get attacked this time. Israel attacked Iran. Why are all these senators going out within a span of like 4 hours after the attack? And keep in mind, the attack's in the middle of the night. But they're all going out saying, oh, we're going to pray for Israel. Why do you pray for a country that attacks another country? I don't understand that. I get it, you would never say, let's pray for Iran, but why would you say pray for Israel when Israel is doing the attacking? Here we have a funny scene of protesters throwing a Molotov cocktail on themselves. Just kind of like goes to show that they're even a danger to themselves. So even just the fact that they're out there doing this kind of stuff is dangerous because they're going to end up catching themselves on fire. So some guy just throws it. He didn't throw it far enough. It kind of lands in a crowd. Luckily, it doesn't blow up, or else all of those people would have been burned. These rioters really don't know what they're doing. And they're going to end up hurting each other. Just like the one rioter that got shot, most likely by another rioter. Oh, this one is interesting. So take a look at this video and tell me, do you support these guys? And if your answer is yes, you might be a terrorist. Quite possibly. So that is what the Democrats are trying to support right now. Rioters in American streets yelling Allah Akbar. please see through the headlines and realize that the causes that these rioters support are not the causes that you should be supporting. Here's kind of an example of like extremists online that are trying to escalate the situation. Let's look at this. So the subreddit is complete anarchy. So they like want to destroy government. I'm sure a lot of the people in the subreddit are actually part of the riots. It says collapse the American empire once and for all. And then the post says live, laugh, love are officially canceled. The reign of terror ends now. 2025 is all about riot, rage, return to the woods. So they just kind of like, there are actually people that do want to like destroy the entire country. I just want people to like realize that. And those kind of people are on the side of these rioters. So I just hope people like actually realize like what they think they're fighting for when they support these kind of guys. Here's another example. Take back the Alamo. Like people are actually think that they could like occupy the Alamo and return it back to Mexico, which is like quite ridiculous. Oh, this one's interesting. This is just it's the police showing M80s that they got off this guy that was throwing it at police. And like an M80 is like a quarter stick of dynamite or something. So if it lands on someone, it could like blow a leg off or something. Like it's very explosive. And he doesn't have just one or two. I mean, he's going to be out there all night throwing them at cops. And again, like I don't want to like pick on people by the way that they look, but this guy does look scary. Just keep in mind what kind of things you support. And that's about all of the updates that we have today. So I guess there really was three main stories. We have Israel strikes Iran nuclear and military sites. This happened about 3 in the morning last night, and we got a bunch of U.S. senators going out saying pray for Israel, even though Israel is the aggravator here. So that's very interesting. We also have the appeals court quickly shoots down activist judge, lets Trump keep National Guard on street. Original lawsuit got denied, comes back, and it gets ruled in favor of Gavin Newsom, and then in appeals court, it gets shut down again. So Newsom in his lawsuit is 1 for 2. So he's got it agreed upon once, and it's got denied twice now. So keep that in mind. That will be misinformation that you'll most likely see, that like Gavin Newsom wins lawsuit, Trump has to get rid of the National Guard. That's not actually true. Next up, what we have here, the last story is just an update on the LA riots. So we have what it is in the courts, these LA riots, how they're going on in the courts, and then we also have just video of like what it really looks like right now. It's people yelling Allah Akbar in the streets and throwing Molotov cocktails at themselves and throwing M80s at police and calling for the collapse of the American empire and for the Alamo to be returned back to Mexico. Like it is quite ridiculous. Again, smaller episode today. Just wanted to give those very important updates. Tell me what you think.